Hey everyone, welcome to my movie Reedviews spoiler talk for Captain America Civil War. This was an amazing movie, there's a lot of good moments, and there were some other things I want to talk about, but just a lot of favorite moments I had, things that stood out, why the movie was so good to me, in my opinion. So let's get at it. Let's talk some spoilers. Let's go right to the end. So Tony's parents' death at the hand of Bucky. That was actually something I heard a theory about from someone online, and when I heard it, it was yeah, that makes sense to me because it ups the stakes for Tony. Not only do you have his ideology, and his thoughts of having the government be over the Avengers, and they have that fight between the two sides, but then it also ups the stakes for Tony fighting against Captain America / Bucky and that side, so it has that more personal battle between all three of them because of, Captain America found that out, I guess, from Winter Soldier. It has some Easter eggs about that, but it really ups the stakes for Tony having his parents die at Bucky's hands. And that's something else the movie did really good, was just up the stakes for everyone. It felt like a really personal battle in the movie, emotional battle and physical battle. The stakes felt very personal. And even though no one died, I was pretty sure, 95% sure that someone was going to die in the movie, but they didn't, so I was a little surprised for that. Now, my next point is going to bring in some spoilers for Batman v Superman, so I'll leave that spoiler warning up here for this whole, next segment. But I think that they set up the ideology better in this movie for Civil War compared to Batman v Superman. They do have some similar storylines, even though they are different, but they're kind of similar, with these two sides fighting for different reasons, and then this third party trying to intervene and mess things up. And so Zemo's plan was basically to show Tony this evidence to make him fight against Winter Soldier and Bucky, and he kind of just showed them the evidence and let them have at it. As in, for Batman v Superman, you have Lex, who basically forces Superman to go fight Batman and do his bidding because he has his mom captive and held hostage. And so you have Batman, who does want to fight Superman, but Superman was kind of having some ideas to fight Batman, but then all of a sudden, Lex just intervenes and says, nope, I have your mom, so you're going to go do this for me. So Civil War, I think they just set up the ideology better. You really get to see the two, their personalities and their ideas for why they're fighting. You get to really see their stances. So I think Civil War did a better job with that kind of aspect in the movie. So I mentioned it in my normal review that everyone pretty much had a shining moment or two. I think the directors did a really great job at pretty much setting up everyone's motivations. And then everyone got to have, like I mentioned, some cool moments. Giant Man, which is what I'm calling him. There's Ant-Man and there's Giant Man. So Giant Man, that was something I was not expecting, because when he says oh, this is something I've tried before, I thought he was going to go subatomic, but instead he goes super big, and when he's laughing, oh, and then he sees the vision pass through him, and he's what? And so you really get to see just Paul Rudd's and Ant-Man's personality in that fight, plus that was just unexpected. You have Black Panther, who I think was, like I mentioned, a great character added in. It makes me really want to see more of Chadwick Boseman and his method acting, because you could tell he's a really good and serious actor. But it also makes me want to see more of the Wakandan culture and the way that the suit works and his power works. And then, of course, Spider-Man was also a fantastic addition. I think they did a great job of casting this younger teenager, and it pretty much shows in the fight. It's something that, a teenager with superpowers would do. He would make little quips, he would be having a fun time, even though the stakes were real and he could die. But he was just having a fun time, and we'll see if maybe Tony and Aunt May hook up. That would be kind of interesting. A few other things that stood out to me, one of them when they showed Tony's younger face when the presentation was going, that kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm wait, who is that? Oh wait, that's Tony. Kind of reminded me of Michael Douglas from the beginning of Ant-Man. Something else I liked was the love-hate relationship kind of thing going on between Falcon and Bucky. They would just kind of make little quips together hey, can you push up your seat? No. Or oh, you could have done something better, you could have protected me. I hate you. So I just kind of like that quirkiness between the two. Like I mentioned in my normal review, all the action was good, it was all entertaining. The first scene was a little shaky with the cameras, but then other than that, it kind of smoothed out. But you have the first scene, which was good, the stairwell and the rooftop scenes, as well as that chase scene between Captain America, Bucky, and Black Panther, and then of course the airport scene in that final battle. I'm glad that Zemo didn't enact all those Winter Soldiers to be his minions and go fight them, and they had to fight off an army of them, because it'd pretty much be the last two Avengers movies. So it just kind of felt more personal like that. And that was my last point I wanted to bring up, was the airport scene was amazing, but so was that last fight, because it was just them three, it was more emotional, and it was just more self-contained. So I was almost as entertained by that scene as I was by the airport scene, even though that was amazing. Like I mentioned, Giant Man and a bunch of the characters fighting all at the same time. But that last battle I just found also to be more emotionally satisfying because it was just smaller and self-contained. There you go, guys. There's some spoiler talk for this movie. I'd highly recommend it. I mean, go see it if you haven't. Even if you're not a big fan of Marvel films, this one is different. It's a little more serious and mature, even though there is some like comedic moments. It just has more mature themes, and it does a really great job with not only the action, but the characters and the set pieces, and so go see it. But also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do reviews here, and I do some other like movie talk segments like this and other things. So yeah, look out for that, and in a couple of weeks I'll be reviewing X-Men. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.